The New York City Attorney General's office is investigating MoviePass. Was Eric Foreman in a coma for a large portion of that 70s show? And we've got the weekend box office. I'm Connor. This is the HooperCast Movie Hour. You're damn right, everybody. It's the HooperCast Movie Hour. It is I, Connor, your reluctant sometimes, but also always eager host. I'm both reluctantly the host and eagerly and obsessively the host of this show. It is possible to exist as both, because here I am doing just that. And that's how it's going to be. I want to talk about some film news tonight, so let's get right into that, because we have a lot to, we don't have a lot to cover. We can cover as much as I want to cover, but I would like to cover a few things tonight, namely this first story that we've got over here at excuse me, on AV Club, although they themselves say that it might be via Hollywood Reporter, so, who knows? The article is by William Hughes. It says New York's Attorney General's office is now investigating MoviePass. We've been talking about MoviePass a good bit on the show, gradually scaling back their services more and more as they realize that they just can't offer anything to their customers and stay in business, which super sucks for them. The New York's Attorney General's office has announced it's now investigating the service's parent company over allegations that it might have lied to investors to present itself as more healthy than it actually was. The Hollywood Reporter notes that Helios and Matheson Analytics, which bought MoviePass back in 2017, at the same time the service announced that it was going to start functionally selling movie tickets for way less than they cost to buy, may have an even worse relationship with basic math than we already thought. The company, which is also being sued by its shareholders, has seen its stock market tank twice in the last year as confidence in MoviePass's buy high, sell low business model has faltered considerably. Per the Hollywood Reporter, the company has lost more than 99% of its value over the last year and a half, which is, not to be judgy, a lot of percents to lose. MoviePass users have seen the service's functionality dip quite a bit over that same period, like I just said, cutting back from the free lunch of basically unlimited movies to a handful of selected titles every week. So I don't know what the Attorney General's office is really going to get from this investigation. It seemed like, when MoviePass started scaling back their services, it seemed to me to be more of just like a PR nightmare. Like, more than anything else, it was just kind of embarrassing that they couldn't keep the company profitable. I don't know that anything criminal has gone on. I mean, they were pretty upfront about every time they cut back the amount of movies per month. I don't know. I think they probably come out unscathed from this. I don't want to say I hope, because I don't really care that much, but I guess I hope that it didn't seem like such a big legal deal. Maybe it is. I gotta be honest, I thought there was more of that article when I looked it up. So if you want to read it, it's on the AV Club. I pretty much just read the whole thing. So sorry, AV Club. That's what you get for writing a short article that is not easily summarized. I got another story here I wanted to bring up that might be fun for people who are fans of that 70s show, like I am, and like most of you are, I hope. Maybe you're not. It's a great show. I think it was on from 1998 to, I believe, 2007 on Fox, and it was syndicated on the WB. There was Kids WB, the WB, and the CW, towards the mid 2000s. But I used to VHS record this show. Like, when it came on, especially if it was new episodes, I was right in there. I'd hit that play record at the same time and have that tape roll all through the half hour. I put a sign on the TV like, don't touch this TV. I'm recording stuff. I'm recording my 70s show. And then later I just bought the entire series on DVD and watched it all the way through, I think twice, which was, I don't think I still have those anymore, but man, I really, that might have been the first, like, that might have been the first entire series I've owned on disc, was that 70s show. And I got it for a bargain too. I got like I think it was 8 seasons. I got all 8 seasons for like $50 or something. It was a steal. Anyways, great show. If you haven't watched it, is it on Netflix? I should do some homework on that. But great show. And I would think that a lot of people my age, I'm almost 30, have seen the show. It's great. If you don't know what it's about, it's pretty much a sitcom. It's shot on a set and everything, but it's a sitcom set in the mid to late 70s. And it's in the lives of teenagers going through that time. There's a lot of 70s pop culture, a lot of historical references, a lot of a lot of teenage angst, but also a lot of really, 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 really great character arcs. And it really introduced a lot of people to a lot of actors that you probably recognize today. Like I was, I know Kurtwood Smith who plays Red Foreman. I see him in movies now and I'm like, oh, you're Red Foreman. That guy was the Grand Wizard of the KKK in Time to Kill that I just watched recently. And I was like, oh, so heartbroken. I was like, no, Red, you're kind of like a bad guy, but you're not like a bad person. You're not like, a racist kind of a bad guy. You're just like a hard ass, It introduced people to Laura Prepon, who you people probably know more now from Orange is the New Black than anything. It introduced people to Topher Grace, who probably, I'm going to argue is still most well known for that show, apart from being Eddie Brock, Venom, and Spider-Man 3. A lot of, audiences know him for that too. Although, again, another KKK reference. He plays David Duke in that Black Klansman movie. So 2 actors from that 70s show previously, and then went on to play card-carrying racists. So that's good. Who else is racist in that show? Let's see if we can build out any more racist characters. I think that's it. It introduced people to Ashton Kutcher, big bright star that came out of the show. Is Ashton Kutcher and Punk'd, and also Mila Kunis. A lot of people, and then there's a lot of great guests by Wilder Valderrama, Danny Masterson to a lesser extent as well. I love the cast of this show. It's probably a perfect show. I mean, you've got people leaving. This is not what the story's about at all, you guys, but I'm just gushing on that 70s show real quick. And if my brother Philip had been co-hosting this episode, he was not slated to. I'm not blaming him for not being here. But if Philip was here, he would be gushing on the show with me. He'd be telling you how much he loves the show, how many classic episodes he can remember. It's a great show. People, Gen Xers and people, older folks have like Cheers and Married with Children as like their that's like their seminal sitcom, or Roseanne or something. My seminal, great American sitcom was that 70s show. I watched this like during my adolescence. This was part of my window into what's normal growing up. It's just a great show. Anyways, so if you're a fan of the show, maybe if you don't have a lot of time on your hands, you don't have a girlfriend, you don't have, stuff going on, maybe you develop fan theories. Where's that thing? Forget it. Maybe you develop fan theories. Maybe you don't. Maybe you like the show just as it is. I do. I tend to not question shows very much. Certain shows have more subtext than others. I didn't think there was a lot of subtext or meta subtext in this show, as the staff over at consequenceofsound.net are suggesting. But there's an article on consequenceofsound.net. And it's a fan theory. It's a short video. It's 3.5 minutes. You can watch it, at your leisure. But the title is Eric is in a coma during much of that 70s show. Fan theories. So the quick little blurb. I'm not gonna read it verbatim. I'll summarize it. And see. So there's one drawback of this video, is you've got. I don't like it when videos are like this because it's in black and white. and it's suggesting that it's a creepy theory, especially with the way this guy talks. Listen to his voice.
Scene of Eric rocking out as he drives, totally oblivious to a giant twister right behind his car.
Okay, Jesus. Come on. Giving me nightmares with this. It's creepy. It's so creepy. Like I keep looking over at my door where my daughter often stands silently in the middle of the night. So like I'm already like just got the jitters in this house, and so that's not going to help me sleep tonight. Thank you very much, cost staff. It's a neat little theory. It's definitely not the best video essay I've ever seen, but it's a fun little theory about the second half of the series being in Eric Foreman's mind, all of it imagined in his mind as he's in a coma. And there's an episode where it's their prom. Eric forgets to get Donna from the radio station, so he's driving across town to go get her. And then a tornado is supposed to be rolling through Point Place as he's headed to the radio station. It narrowly misses him, and he arrives at the radio station and gets there, and everything's fine. And the tornado and them being stuck and confined into the gym is part of the plot, so that's why it's there in the first place. And that Donna thinks that he took a great risk in coming to rescue her, and he's like, oh yeah, of course I did. Heck yeah, man, because he's like trying to have sex with her, and then he finds out later, he's like, oh my god, there was a tornado. Oh my god, I almost died. Like I never would have risked my life to come here if I'd known there was a tornado. But they point he I won't spoil like the clue for you, but like he basically points out this throwaway line from a TV newscaster, that you can hear that as justification for a theory that Eric Foreman was actually killed by the tornado, and that everything past this shot here of him in his car is just him filling in the gaps in his mind. Until I guess he dies or taken off life support or whatever. I don't know. But it's towards the end of the series, Ashton Kutcher leaves the show, Kelso leaves the show, and then Eric himself, the main character, leaves the show. He goes off to Africa to like go teach kids or something, which is honestly a little bit out of character for Eric, I gotta say. You could say it's part of his arc, but I still didn't think of it as like, oh, it's just like Topher Grace wants to leave the show and do Spider-Man 3, and that's fine. But then most people probably know this who are listening, so I'll just get right to it. The series finale, Eric shows up back at his house on New Year's Day, and to come back. He's back from Africa. He comes to Donna. His friends are there. Kelso's there. Everyone's there. It was a great moment for people like me who just wanted to see everyone reunite for the end of the show after what was mostly a terrible season. The 8th season really isn't good of that 70s show, because they were forced to make like Fez, like pretty much the main Fez and Jackie, like the two main characters of the show, and I just didn't think it worked. To me it was Eric and Donna. That was the romantic arc. Those are the characters I most wanted to see fulfilled, and not some secondary characters that they linked together in a frankly unrealistic romance. But also good for character arcs, because she's shallow and he's whatever. But what was I getting at? I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought, you guys. I love this show so much. But the guy, this person offers this as a justification for like, oh, Eric comes back at the end of the show and sees Donna because that's him like coming back and one last time and checking on his friends and making sure that they've all moved on, been able to move on in their lives without him. And that now that he's realized that they're doing fine, they've moved on, like the show can end, which I guess is supposed to be Eric dying. So there's shows like St. Elsewhere where they actually end and you find out that all this happened in the snow globe, of this autistic kid's, snow globe. So those are like overtly like meta, twists at the end of a series. This is probably just he's like, why would the writers include such a line from the newscasters if they didn't want us to believe it, if they didn't want us to think that Eric was dead or in a coma, like because it's just a throwaway line. It's just not meant to. Whatever. Again, fan theories can be fun, but sometimes they're just kind of like, oh, it's a stretch, but I guess they're all kind of a stretch. I wanted to since we got a little more time, I want to read from this list. I'm just doing what I want tonight, you guys. So I'll put these stories in the time code if you want to just skip ahead. But I wanted to include a few things. There's a list on There is a list on Cinema Blend called 5 Things Black Panther 2 Needs to Include. So yeah, I hate these lists. They're clickbaity. So that's why I'm going to click on it and address them, because usually they are not substantive at all. So I'm going to go through the entirety of this article by Matt Wood. Sorry, Matt Wood, I'm reading your whole article, except for the opening blurb, which is just you recapping stuff in writery terms. But basically, Black Panther 2, for those of you who don't know, Ryan Coogler is coming back to write and direct the sequel. Marvel would have been really stupid to let him get away from the sequel. I just watched Fruitvale Station. Love Ryan Coogler. Love Black Panther. And so I obviously want him at the helm of the sequel. So there's some stuff that they want Black Panther, or that Matt Wood thinks that Black Panther 2 needs to include. More gadgets. Wakanda has the most advanced technology on the planet, and we got to see a good amount of it in Black Panther, like holograms, mini EMPs, and flying ships. However, the movie didn't show off very many gadgets for Black Panther. He mostly relied on his kinetic energy blast, which was cool, but you'd think the most technological hero would be packing some variety. In the comics, Black Panther has several gadgets and weapons, such as a pair of energy daggers. From an action perspective, it would be great to see more tools for Black Panther, but it would also help the hero stand out more from the crowd. Apart from his blast, he's just strong and fast, and pretty much everyone in the MCU is strong and fast. Also, I want him to ride around on a motorcycle. Okay, Matt. I don't think he needs any more gadgets. I mean, obviously 1 or 2 new toys always helps, just advance the character's abilities and keep action beats more interesting. So I agree on that point. I don't think you need just more gadgets. Black Panther is really interesting as it is. I don't say you should not do anything new with his suit or anything new with his gadgets, but like, we don't need him. What I don't want us to do is to fall into like just a bunch of toys, because then honestly, he's a little bit too much like Iron Man. Although Wakanda has more resources than Stark does, so it'd be more interesting for him to have a pair of energy daggers. So I'll half agree with that point. I'll give you a half a point for that point, Matt Wood. Not a terrible idea. They just can't go overboard with it. Number 2, explore the city of Wakanda. Wakanda is a fascinating location, and Black Panther did a great introducing the basics. I found a typo. Hey, Matt Wood, I found a typo in your article. Hey, Matt Wood. I found a typo in your article. And Black Panther did a great. You know what? I'm not going to let this go, because I always like it when there's glaring spelling and grammatical errors. Oh, I zoomed in way too much. Oh, this is going to take a little bit to catch up. Okay. All right, guys. All right, I got it. Oh, God. There it is. Come on. Almost. Wakanda. I'm going to put the mouse right. Oh, you can't see the mouse. I'm going to put this right next to my head here. Wakanda is a fascinating location, and Black Panther did a great introducing the basics of the nation. Did you mean to say a great job, Matt Wood? Because you did a great writing of this article. Sorry, I just corrected the sentence instinctively because it's such a bad typo. Such a bad error. And Black Panther and Matt Wood did a great writing this article. Great, Matt Wood. We learn about all the different tribes, get a look at some of their customs and its role as an isolated country. Oh, God. Okay. No. Come back. Oh, Lord. For the sequel, whoops. Come on, man. Get it together. For the sequel, it would be great to see more of the nitty-gritty of the day. Part of the reason that Asgard was such a boring location is that none of the movies ever showed it as more than a golden palace where people wear robes all day. Wakanda is really visually distinct, but offering more of a street-level view can give it more dimension. It would be great to see new areas of the city and to understand everyday life for the citizens. What does it actually mean to live in a utopia? I'm sure they'll get to that, guy. Relax. He's right there. I mean, it's always a good idea to explore more of the setting, especially again when you have a location as rich as Wakanda. So the effects of Wakanda's coming out. Obviously, you idiot. How do the Wakandans feel about being fully exposed in the world? Duh. I'm scared. I'm not even going to read that one. That's a no-brainer, dude. What do you think after Infinity War, when a bunch of aliens attacked and killed a bunch of their people, you think they're not going to like question T'Challa a little bit at least? God, obviously, a villain with a unique power set. Killmonger, Michael B. Jordan, is a straight-up terrific villain, one of the best of the year. However, his one downside is that he reverts to being an evil version of Black Panther by the end of the movie. A lot of MCU villains have that exact problem, but his intensity and pathos save Killmonger. The sequel can avoid that entirely by selecting a villain who doesn't have the same powers as T'Challa. The movie already used up 3 of Black Panther's best villains, so a sequel will have to think outside the box when it comes to finding a primary antagonist. Killmonger leaves big shoes to fill, but the sequel villain can get off on the right foot with unique powers. So, couple thoughts. We already explained this in the Black Panther review, if you want to go look at that on our YouTube page, but I'm going to say this, or on iTunes, whatever. I excuse Killmonger for being a dark Black Panther because he's trying to usurp the throne from him. So one, he's choosing to be that for that specific reason. What other? I will say this. I thought that Dustin told me, or someone told me, I thought I heard that the original villain, maybe, or a villain that was considered for Black Panther was going to be Kraven the Hunter. Who's a Spider-Man, mainly a Spider-Man villain. But I remember when I heard that thinking, I've been asking for a Kraven the Hunter, role in a comic book movie for ever since I didn't even know he was a character until I played the Spider-Man 2, the video game. And then Kraven, I think Kraven's like one of the bosses in that. One of the villains you have to fight. I think he's strong also. So he has like a little bit of supernatural, aided strength, but he's also extremely cunning and sets lots of traps and has lots of gadgets of his own, but a lot more, I think, analog than Black Panther's suit. I think Kraven, I'm throwing this out there. Yeah, I agree with you, Matt Wood, with a unique power set. Again, not that unique, but I think people would respond a lot more to just kind of a supered up hunter, especially in Africa where Kraven, it already makes sense for Kraven to be operating in Africa to a large extent just because of that's his whole thing. He's like a big game hunter. Also a thief and stuff too. I vote Kraven the Hunter. That's what I want for Black Panther 2. Black Panther 2, I think it needs to include Kraven the Hunter. Is this it? I think this is the last point. Bigger roles for the supporting cast. Okay. He's talking about all the women. He's talking about Okoye, Shuri, and Nakia. There's no doubt that the characters like Shuri and Okoye managed to leave big impressions, and it's only natural that the sequel boosts their roles. People really enjoy these characters, so give them more of what they want. So I just fell into a trap. This is a nothing article that Matt Wood has written. It's a bunch of stuff that's it's a whole lot of, no shit. No doy. Obviously, a sequel needs all these elements to be compelling. Obviously. Anyway, he's right. I'm a little mad that I just spent 20 minutes on this, but I like thinking about these movies, and Matt's kind of right. I don't think we need to go overboard with some of these points. I mean, it's still a supporting cast, and I'm sure there's gonna be more for Nakia in the next film. Lupita Nyong'o's character, and obviously Shuri as well, because we still have yet to explore Avengers 4. We don't even know what the fallout of that movie is yet. That's gonna really color what we think of the next Black Panther. So let's slow our roll a little bit. But I agree with him. But I think the biggest takeaway for me in this is I don't know what villain they're gonna pick. They might pick one or two villains that I have never heard of, and I will like them as soon as they cast them, and I'll realize, oh, excuse me, and I'll realize like, oh, that's perfect. But of course, I didn't know this character before. That's happened with a lot of these Marvel movies. I didn't know who Killmonger was or Ironmonger. I just realized they had the same, almost the same name, Monger. But I do. I want Kraven the Hunter, and I would want him in a Spider-Man film, but he works just fine in a Black Panther movie, and that might be a great time to sort of like introduce that villain. Maybe he survives the film. Maybe he goes and gives Spider-Man hell after he gives Black Panther hell. There's no reason he can't do that. Makes sense to me. Anyway, all right, where are we at time? 25. We're okay to do this one. Another story here. This is a iffy story. I don't usually do a lot of like. Oh, I do some social commentary. Who am I kidding? This is on fatherly.com. The title is this is by Raz Robinson. Title is Keira Knightley won't let her daughter watch The Little Mermaid or Cinderella. During a recent interview on the Ellen DeGeneres show, Keira Knightley explained that while she loves certain Disney princesses, there's no way that she'd let her 3-year-old daughter watch some of their movies. Knightley says a few Disney classics actually reinforce a handful of harmful gender norms that she's certain won't send her toddler the right message. Cinderella banned, Knightley said, because, she waits around for a rich guy to rescue her. Don't. Rescue yourself, obviously. It's been a while since I've seen Cinderella. I don't remember that much of it. You know what? I don't even think I've seen Cinderella. Yeah, waits around for a rich guy to rescue her. Okay. Article continues. Still, when it comes to the Little Mermaid, Knightley is a bit more conflicted, but says she's keeping to it, meaning the ban. This is the one that I'm quite annoyed about because I really like the film, but The Little Mermaid, the songs are great, but do not give up your voice for a man. Hello? Okay, so a little bit of this is probably virtue signaling. I'm sure it's true, but when you go on a talk show, what they do is you sit down in the back with a segment producer, and the segment producer pretty much asks, they pretty much pre-build the interview for you. They go, okay, so what's been going on lately? Anything interesting? And you'll tell them like, here's what's going on in my life, or I thought I'd talk about this, and blah, blah, blah. And they'll be like, okay, that's good. No, that's not good. Okay, then what else you got? And then they basically you sort of like pre-agree on the topic you're going to bring up. And so then they go tell Ellen about it. So Ellen knows what to ask you about, and then you know what you're going to talk about and how much time you have and blah, blah, blah. So there's a little bit of talk shows that are pretty canned. Now, they're not really pre-produced, like that no one told you what to say, but you agree beforehand what you're going to talk about. So it's always popular, especially with a host like Ellen DeGeneres, to just go up there and say something really progressive. It's fine. It's her show. Keira Knightley, it's a free country. We can say whatever we want. It's fine. So, and I'm sure that Keira Knightley actually believes these things too. I'm not saying she's virtue signaling, like disingenuously. I just think it's popular to say, first of all, to call out Disney in particular, it's remains a popular thing to do because they're a large, powerful corporation that makes millions of children around the world happy with their films. As the father of a 4, almost 5-year-old, I will inject my 2 cents here. Now, you might not want to listen to me because I'm just a white man, but I'm not talking as just a white guy. I'm talking as the father to a daughter. Why don't you let your kid decide if they like the film or not? Why don't you just show them the movie and wait and see if they model their behavior off of it? Some of these, I hear people sometimes talking about how, like, you shouldn't impose your values on your kids. Number one, yes, you should. That's your job. You raised your kids. It's such a stupid notion. You shouldn't impose like your religion on your kid. You shouldn't impose like your likes and dislikes on your kid. It's like, well, yeah, you shouldn't tell them what to like or dislike. Because they might have a different personality than you, or maybe you need some therapy. And in 20 years, you realize that the way you behave is sort of stupid, and you were glad you didn't impose that on your kids and tell them that that they should drink bourbon at breakfast, like you might have thought when you were 24. Like, Obviously, there are things within you that you might have to fix about yourself before you parent a kid. So yes, I wouldn't pontificate too much to your children because they're not going to listen to you if you just tell them what to do. You got to just sort of wait and see what they do and then course correct as you go along. My kids kind of, they're young. They hit each other. My son's a 2, almost 3-year-old boy. Kids hit, and you don't scream at them when they're 4 months old and say, "Don't you hit anybody." You got to just wait till it happens and then go, and don't encourage it, whatever. The point of all this is to say, Keira Knightley is well within her right to tell her 3-year-old daughter what kind of movies, what message to take from movies. But for God's sake, it's when they're 3 years old, they're not thinking about stuff like that. And if they are, you got to just wait till they do it. Or at least that's what that's my 2 cents on it is when my daughter watched, what was it? There's some princess movies. I mean, like we watched a lot of Moana in my house, a lot of Tangled. She's probably seen Cinderella. I don't think my daughter's seen Cinderella or The Little Mermaid. But she knows enough about The Little Mermaid to be interested in it, and I guarantee you she's not going to watch it and think, "Oh, I should give up my right to speak just so I can marry a handsome prince." My daughter doesn't think that way. And here's reason number 1 my daughter would never think that way. That's not how I treat my wife. Like, I don't treat my wife in the way that, like, my wife works. My wife cooks, clean. Like, my wife contributes significantly to our household. My wife is not just my ward who does my bidding. Far from it. My God. Most people would tell you my wife wears the pants in my marriage. We both wear the pants. We share the pants, of course. We have a 4-legged pair of pants that we share. I almost said we shave. We don't shave this pair of pants. It's a metaphorical pair of pants. By that I mean to say, kids, more than anything, more than movies, for some of us, I picked up a fair amount from movies, but most kids pick up the norms, what's normal for them, on their parents, based on what their parents do, based on their actions. You're supposed to be an example to your kids more than tell them what to do or not to do. They're supposed to look at the way you live, and they're judging whether or not it's working out for you, and that's how they decide whether or not they want to be like you. Going back to the bourbon at breakfast thing, kids look at that and they go, "Oh," or when they're 15 or so, I guess they'll go, "Oh man, that's kind of cool. Man, my dad has bourbon at breakfast. He doesn't give a damn." And then they might go, "Yeah, well, he also keeps losing. He can't hold a job down. He's always throwing up. He got a DUI. He has to go to court all the time. Maybe I won't do that. That seems like it has a negative impact on life to drink in the morning. Okay, I won't do that. Thanks, Dad." They model behavior. They don't need to be told, "Don't be an alcoholic." They've already have an example of what it can mean to be that. So the point, I'm blowing this up a lot. So this is why this show is just for me, because people are tuned out, many, many minutes ago. I'm just saying, I'm not concerned of perceived harmful gender norms in Disney films for my daughter, to be honest. Like, I'll wait until she tells me, like, "Oh, I can't wait to meet a handsome," and it must have, my daughter might pretend it's a handsome prince. She doesn't even do that though. She just like builds stuff. She builds little houses and roads and stuff, and likes to draw and likes to read. And it's okay if she were to come up and pretend, "Oh, I married my handsome Prince Eric," whatever she's going to say. That's fine with me. Now, if she starts to go through her adolescence and is, obsessed with boys instead of like, in lieu of learning or personal success, I will then go, "Okay, you realize that this is not a healthy pursuit to pursue boys over all else, right?" one, try telling that to a teenager, but two, like, I just feel like this is common sense. This is why I'm pontificating so much about this. I feel like this is common sense. I feel like you just sort of wait and see what kids do, and then you course correct. It doesn't have much to do with the movies they watch. I'm much more concerned with movies. I'm much more concerned about action movies where people jump through windows and they don't even have any cuts on them. Because I punched a window when I was a kid. I was angry. I punched a window. Okay. Now I did not get hurt. I don't think I even got cut. I was kind of lucky. But but part of that was because I watched a bunch of movies where like windows can't hurt you. You can jump through glass windows out of a 2-story building as the building explodes, land on the ground. Nothing's wrong. That's more harmful to me, in my opinion, than princesses wanting to marry princes in Disney films that kids might see. I don't want kids, and especially teenage boys, to look at the physics in action movies and go, oh, that's probably part of why teenage boys are so risky with their behavior and put their safety at risk all the time. I watched Jackass when I was a teenager. What do you think I was doing in those years? I wasn't doing like horribly, dangerous stunts, but it was a whole lot of like, reckless behavior. It wasn't helped. That's a lot more harmful than Cinderella. So Keira Knightley is free to do as she pleases. I just think it's a non-issue, although I spoke about it for 10 minutes. So maybe I think it's an issue. You know what else is an issue? The box office, man. So we didn't do the quick pick on Monday, so I'm going to talk about the box office here for the rest of the show, and then I think we'll get on out of here. But I just want to bring this to your attention. So I didn't have a box office. I think I did have a box office prediction. I did. Did I leave it over here? I totally did. Is this? I can't tell. Yeah, it is. Okay, good. There it is. All right. So I did have predictions for the box office. So last weekend on October 5th through 7th, the box office looked like, where's my, there it is. There's the box office. Whoa. No. You come back here. Oh my God. This is stupid. Come on, Box Office Mojo. All right. So this was the box office last weekend. Venom debuted at number 1, $80 million. Star Wars Born debuted at number 2, $42, almost $43 million. Smallfoot fell to the number 3 spot on its second weekend, $14 million. So I predicted that the box office would open, I think I said, First Man would take the number 1 spot. A Star Wars Born would remain at number 2, but Venom would fall to number 3. That was my prediction. So was I right? Let's have a look. And I was wrong. 1 out of 3. Venom hangs on to the number 1 spot with $35 million. It's still a 56% drop, but it's still the number 1 spot. So, good for them. A Star is Born hanging on to number 2, a strong number 2, 33% drop, but $28 million. Yeah, there you go. And First Man debuts at number 3. That's a lot less than I thought. It barely beat Goosebumps 2 Haunted Halloween. And we knew that would happen. Bad Times at El Royale debuted at number 7. I can't believe I thought for a second that would be a top 3 player. I thought for a second. Yeah, so that brings the total gross for A Star is Born up to $94 million, which is really good for a $36 million film. So good for Bradley Cooper. He's produced a profitable film. That's really good news for his relationship with Warner Brothers. It's great news. It's great news for him as a director, and for Lady Gaga and himself. And that film's gonna get so much Oscar buzz. It's gonna be nuts. Total gross for Venom is up to $142 million. The budget's $100 million. What's the international gross on Venom? I want to see if it's okay. Worldwide gross, $385 million. That's a profitable movie. That's profitable. Sucks because I think, just especially based on what I'm hearing about the movie, I don't think we want more of these from Sony, but we're probably going to get them. So Sony, of course, will continue to exist with brimming with false confidence as always. What are you going to do? Okay, next weekend, what do we think? What's going to bump some of these things out of the box office? Do we know? I don't think we do. So let's check. Let's find out. I want to look at Fandango and see what we got going on opening in theaters this weekend. Yeah, most principally, you have The Old Man and the Gun, this Robert Redford film, is Robert Redford's last film. So that's opening, it says Friday, September 28th. I guess it's opening in wide release. This weekend, although it says it was released September 28th. So anyway, 89% on Rotten Tomatoes. Directed by David Lowery, starring Robert Redford, Casey Affleck, Sissy Spacek, Danny Glover, Tom Waits. Tom Waits. Tika Sumpter, Ari Elizabeth Johnson, Tegan Johnson, and a few other actors. So the plot: Forrest Tucker, that's Robert Redford, escapes from San Quentin and embarks on a string of heists that confound authorities. Sweet. So he's like an old thief. That's pretty awesome. I want to see a trailer for this. I'm curious. I'm going to take this off the screen so you can't see it.
Excuse me, I'd like to open up an account.
Well, great. What type of account do you have in mind?
This kind. This kind.
All units, got a 211 in progress. American Bank suspect is armed and driving a blue four-door sedan.
Hey, excuse me. Need some help?
No, I'm good.
Let me take a look.
You know anything about cars?
No, not really.
Old guy with a gun. It's just kind of a funny story.
You think you can catch him?
I won't lie, I'd love to slap the cuffs on him myself, so I hope I get the chance.
If I ever wonder what I'm doing or where I'm going, I just think of myself as that little kid I was. Now, would he have been proud of me?
So is he proud of you? That little boy?
Oh, he's getting closer every day.
Man, I like that. That looks good. I like Robert Redford. He's always charming. He said this is his last film, and then he's retiring. So it's actually a really, really cool send off. I think. Do we have to watch these? Can we stop this?
Lately, I've noticed my TV is...
Stop. Shut up. What are you doing? Stop it. Shut up. Shut up. Stop. Normally I hate these, like, oh, old people doing young people things, feeling young again. I'm like, oh, stop. I don't think that's going to be a box office contender, but it's a film I want to see. So I'll definitely be keeping my eye out for that. What else is opening this weekend? The Hate You Give. I think I talked about that the other week. That's already opened. So is it just a wide release thing? All right, so the big contender this weekend is Halloween. The actual sequel to the original Halloween film, not any of these Halloween H2O, no Rob Zombie, nothing. This is the one. This is an 87% on Rotten Tomatoes. Cast and crew: director David Gordon Green. You might remember him from Pineapple Express. Is that what he directed? Pineapple Express. I think he also directed Superbad, first horror film, I believe. Stars Jamie Lee Curtis, reprising her role as Laurie Strode, Judy Greer as her daughter Karen Strode, Andy Matichak, Will Patton, Virginia Gardner, Nick Castle Jr., Miles Robbins, Toby Huss, hey Toby, Hulk Bilgener, people, starting some people. Synopsis: Laurie Strode comes to her final confrontation with Michael Myers, the masked figure who has haunted her since she narrowly escaped his killing spree on Halloween night 4 decades ago. Take a look at the trailer, because why the hell not?
40 years ago, on Halloween night, Michael Myers murdered 3 people.
After that horrific night, he was sent back to the institution in captivity.
He is a killer, but he will be killed tonight. Happy Halloween, Michael.
right, so there's that. So yeah, basically Laurie Strode has become has become obsessed and has really trained herself to be ready for Michael Myers and is ready to kill him. Yeah, we'll see. I'm not that interested in the Halloween franchise. I personally haven't heard good things about this film, but it has an 87% on Rotten Tomatoes, so maybe most people like it. So the idea seems kind of cool. I like the idea of Jamie Lee Curtis coming back and sort of taking her life back from Michael Myers. Just the question is, can she defeat a seemingly invincible, immortal murderer? Who knows? All right, so which one do I think is going to affect the box office? So I think Halloween's the only realistic player in the box office. It's not going to take over Venom, though. Well, you know what? Yes, it will. Yes, it will. That's a stupid thing to say. Of course it will. I made this mistake with the last horror film. I will not again. I think Halloween opens at number 1. I think A Star Is Born stays at number 2. And I think Venom takes number 3. That's my prediction. Let's go ahead and write that down. I think number 1, Halloween. 2, A Star Is Born. And 3 will be Venom. I think Michael Myers will kick that symbiote right barely to the edge of the top 3, but he's gonna keep it there. All right, that's the show, guys. That's it tonight. That's it. That's all we're gonna do. Thanks for listening. Oh, damn. Okay, hold on. Don't go yet. I have some ad copy to read. I would like you to sit here and listen to it while I tell you about Letterboxd. Would you do that for me, please? That'd be great. Let's talk about Letterboxd. This episode of the HooperCast is sponsored by Letterboxd. Brought to you by Letterboxd. Not really sponsored. We don't get any money. So what am I doing this for? Not really sure, but I'm going to keep going with it. Right now, listeners of our show have the chance to win a free 1-year pro account upgrade on Letterboxd. For those of you who don't know, Letterboxd is a social network for film lovers that allows you to track, rate, and review the films you watch. You can follow other members to get recommendations. You can publish lists of films like your top 10 for the year and a lot more. Letterboxd is free to use. There's no subscription fee, but a pro account is going to provide you with additional features such as a customized summary of your past year's viewing. If you already have a pro account, then you get a year extension free, so stop complaining. If you want to enter, all you have to do is listen to our show and we will read the code word at random. The code word, by the way, for October is I'm hungry. Then send us an email right now. Do it as you're listening to this. Send us an email at hoopercast@gmail.com. Enter the code word. If you don't know how to spell HooperCast, you're just a damn idiot because it's all over the place wherever you're listening to us. Enter the code word in the subject line and make sure to include your Letterboxd username in the email. Yeah, you need a username, dum-dum. If you want a free upgrade or extension, you need to actually register at letterboxd.com. Silly man. Enter that Letterboxd username in the email so that we know which account to reward. A lot of people emailed us and they just didn't give us any other info. Like, oh, congratulations, you still lose. The winner will be selected during the last show of each month. You can also follow our show on Letterboxd. Just search HooperCast. That's letterboxd.com. By the way, no one has submitted these. No one has responded to this contest in months. I don't know what the deal is. We used to get submissions all the damn time. Now we get none. I'm telling you this because you're probably guaranteed to win this promotion if you just send the email in. Honestly, guaranteed. No one around you. Cross that finish line first. Slow as you want to. Just hurry up. Come on. Letterboxd.com. 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 Oh, yeah. That's it. That's it, guys. That's the whole show. Go see us on Facebook for the live streams the first Wednesday night of the month. HooperCast.com. Sorry, Facebook.com/HooperCast. And that's it. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for hanging out and thanks for sticking around. And we'll see you guys later. Have a good one. Be safe. Get out there, see some good movies.